Why do you start a video about pizza? The terrible Italian impression, maybe. Mozzarella, linguine. Well, welcome to, I hope you like my little alcove. I'm trying to find a cool filming spot where it doesn't leave me hunched as well. I think I'm gonna spend some of this video basically gassing up my fiance. I wanted to talk about baking. There's not really any traditions that I can think of growing up that come to mind. Like little sprinkles here and there. But in terms of family traditions, it's funny that I'm gonna have one with my future family. We're gonna have this tradition called Pizza Saturday, which the first way that got started was actually through her grandfather, who like religiously, everyone in the household would go out and get themselves just a local pizza from like a cool joint. There's a couple places here in Long Beach that were pretty bomb, but there's nothing wrong with a good old-fashioned American staple, like, you know, Little Caesars or Costco. I'll still mess up a Costco pizza, I ain't gonna lie. I saw a TikTok once that that showed us that that Costco pizza has an insane amount of protein in it. So then for a little bit, we were all kind of joking around that Costco pizza is pretty fire for the macros if you really are looking to gain a little bit of mass and whatnot. This angle makes my arms look tiny, but basically how it started. And then obviously her parents would also do it too. So every Saturday, hence the name Pizza Saturday, which is funnily enough today, they'd all just order a pizza, and that was like the weekly thing to look forward to. You know, it's like cool, like nicely done this week, like let's all just gather and sit down and have a pizza. At one point I had already been like graciously invited into this environment. We'd been doing Pizza Saturday for a little bit. I don't remember the exact timeline, but I want to say at least a year plus into our relationship, when I think she came across like this video of someone that had made their own pizza. She looked into the recipe, looked really straightforward to be honest, and we figured, well, why the heck not? We were actually pretty damn impressed with what we had created. Like, yeah, there's a couple of things that went wrong. If I remember right, like, you know, the pizza sticking to the pan, and the crust I think might have been a little bit underbaked, a little bit doughy. But taste-wise, everything was there, you know. And we, I think, had a backup pizza still, which is like the Little Caesar or whatever the heck the local spot was. But all things considered, man, like it was a legit pizza, and I was like, that actually wasn't that hard. Coming from me, who was like pretty inexperienced baker, unless I'm following the directions to a T. She actually took control and just started making little tweaks and little adjustments here. Like she would notice, you know, the dough would rise in these specific conditions, but not in these. Or she would notice that, like, okay, this is actually the bomb cheese right here. We should be using this cheese. We found this specific, not fancy, but just a little bit higher quality flour that we really enjoy. So let's always try to pick up this flour. At some point, I fell off the baking wagon. I can tell you that much. But she's the one that graciously, usually her and her mom will prepare the pizzas for Pizza Saturday. And it got to the point where like the pizza that we would make at home was like so much better than the ones that you could get at like the local spots. Now, I'm not against trying like, hey, I got the 5 stars, 4,000 reviews pizzerias type of places still, you know. I'm still down to try a local joint, of course. And in fact, we very much had to at one point, because a while back our oven had broken, like the actual heating component or whatever of the oven. We missed Pizza Saturday so much, and the local spots that we would try every week hit the itch, but weren't quite what we were used to. Like our bar for pizza had gone up. So I actually spent a couple of weeks like digging through schematics and researching and trying to troubleshoot it, and then between me and her dad troubleshooting it, and then finally we figured out what it was. And I had to like graciously like ask him like, hey, can I borrow your soldering skills, because I'm pretty sure this is the problem. To that satisfying feeling of finally turning on the gas and lighting up the heaters in the oven and having the oven just function normally, it was like, goodness, thank goodness that Pizza Saturday is back, man. So all in all, that's kind of like our little tradition every week. If I have to get involved, I will. I'll offer. I know the recipe well enough that I can still jump in. My resume includes making fettuccine alfredo that tasted like thick buttercream more than alfredo sauce, and a cheesecake I made for my mom once that looked a little bit more like butter icing. with little crumbs of graham cracker around it. My girlfriend's straightforward, which I really like that about her. My mom was kind enough to say I still liked the cake, but the pasta and the cake were not good, especially the pasta. However, I do have this, like, for some reason, if I follow again a recipe to like the exact way it's listed on the freaking like baking websites, you know the ones I'm talking about, right? Where like you want to look up a recipe, but half of the web page is covered in like advertisements slash like Rhonda's life story. That like, that's cool and all. I'm glad your grandmama like came up with the recipe in like 1394 BC, but can you show me what I need to do and how much of each ingredient, please? If I follow a recipe like that, almost always it comes out cool. The only exception, I guess, was this year's Valentine's when I did bake, because I know her cookie recipe okay-ish enough too. I just made my own take on it and I ended up making like this vanilla sugar cookie with icing on top of it. Presentation was not the best, but taste-wise, they were pretty solid, if I do say so myself. Sprinkled a little bit of honey sugar, and I think it was like maple sugar. We were trying out alternative sugars, and I sprinkled a little bit mixed in with regular sugar, and it made this really interesting combination. I actually wrote down the recipe after I did it, but it's probably lost to time. I don't think anyone ever made my custom recipe ever again. So that's kind of the gist of it. I think if I can find an easy, accessible picture of our Pizza Saturday, I'll toss it in, because even from the pictures you can salivate from your screen. But there's just this very like fun connection. It's this creation process slash thing that me and my fiance were both very into. We love pastries, we love baking. Baking, I think, is more her jam. It's like therapeutic for her. For me, it's just I'm fat in my head and I like pastries and I like to eat them. But it's fun to make things. So it's always interesting to create things, I guess. And like, I'm usually making music, so to be able to make something, you know, out of scratch, it's always a really fascinating feeling. But that's our little tradition that we have here. Started with your grandparents, parents did it too, and then we plan on carrying it on. And I think that's kind of the cool little twist that we put on it, was that we make it from scratch. The Pizza Saturday that we do every week is done completely from scratch. And without gas, without gas, that's not a phrase. No exaggeration, I would say that it blows most of the local spots out of the water, the way she makes it. That's a little pizza video. Feel free to subscribe for the pizza, please. I'll send you a slice in the mail, I promise, if you subscribe and tell me what else you'd like me to talk about. So we'll let the gloom play out here today, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Let's do a little dramatic da 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 da. Whoa, it was raining today. My tea's gone cold, I wonder why.